All right. Hi, everybody. My name is Dioselin Gonzalez. I am a principal engineer in the Mixed Reality Research Group at Labs. That's the group that I lead. I've been in Unity for almost 2 years now. My first year was in the virtual reality group within Labs, doing authoring tools, specifically Carte Blanche. You might have heard of it. And so now this year, I started leading the Mixed Reality Research Group. And so I'm going to talk to you today about what I wanted to say is first, I'm going to show you 3 issues that we believe need to be addressed for mixed reality to be adopted massively and to become a day-to-day technology for everybody. And I'm also going to say how we believe that that should be addressed. And then at the end, I'm going to give you more specifically on what we're working in the Mixed Reality Research Group and a little more detail of our initiatives to address those issues. So I'm going to start just by showing my team. This is who we are. In the middle, you have Silvio Druin. He's the VP. He's my boss, the VP of Labs, and he leads all the different groups within our research. Then Greg Madison is our lead interaction designer and also our futurologist person. And Colin Aing, he's in our Montreal office, is our technical writer. Before I get into the topic and the meat, I wanted to first clarify the lingo because you probably heard that a lot, right? Mixed reality, what is it? There's AR, VR, MR, XR, etc. There's also the concept of mixed reality. Some people use it for using green screens for virtual reality. That's not what I'm talking about today. So when I mention today what I'm talking about is based on the virtuality continuum, which is the idea from Milgram in 1994, his paper. And I'm borrowing this image from a developer, which I believe is like the best one that I've seen so far that explains the concept, which is the virtuality continuum is the one that goes from the purely physical world to the purely synthetic world, virtual reality. In between those two, whatever mixes a little bit of both on some ratio, that's what we call the mixed reality continuum. So today when I'm talking about it, that's what I mean. Within mixed reality, we have, for example, there augmented virtuality. And one example would be that you are in VR or that you somehow add real physical objects to it. One example, we actually did it for Carte Blanche, our research prototype that we just delivered in January. It's a virtual reality experience. It's authoring experience where you're on a desk and you have certain tools, right, to create worlds. Now, in that one, in that prototype, we are aligning the physical desk with the virtual desk because in that case, we were going for long periods of authoring. So we believe that added comfort of aligning the physical and the virtual desk adds for more people actually spending more hours in virtual reality. So that's one example of augmented virtuality experience. Then we have what you know, augmented reality, which is the real world with some elements of virtual reality, or virtual elements. Okay, so this is what I'm going to talk today. We identified our group 3 big issues that need to be addressed. Not necessarily the only one, but those are, like I said, very important to us for mixed reality to become an everyday, a day-to-day technology and not just a gimmick. The first one is the applications are invisible and invisible things are forgettable. So what do I mean by that? On the right, you see, that's a screenshot that I took of my phone. And you're probably, like me, many of us are like, when we're looking for an app, we're like swiping. Where is it? What is that app? What is the name? One example that happens to me a lot, I bike. That's my thing, drove biking. And I have my Garmin application that connects to my GPS, and it tells me all my rides and everything. And every time, I don't know why, because it's my Garmin, it connects to my Garmin, I'm looking for the Garmin app. And I forget that it's actually called Connect. So I'm always doing like, where's the app? And that toolbar at the top for searching, that is very telling, right? The fact that in our mobile operating systems, they had to add that because we accumulate more and more icons. On the right, I'm borrowing a screenshot for an article from venturebeat.com, and over there they talk about app overload. So it's a known fact, right? That we have so many applications today that we even forget. This is some data from a recent, they studied over 5 million applications at figures.com, and they published the results. Very interesting. So many things that they say. One of the points that I wanted to show here is the big number of applications that we have. Only in Google Play, 2.8 million, the App Store, so over 2 million applications to choose from. So imagine you're a user, and you're like, I don't want to edit photos. You have to go through a huge number of apps. So that tells us that the market has reached a certain maturity that it's either, saturation or simply users are just tired. And some people say, well, maybe it's the end of the application gold rush. But in any case, whatever the fact is that there are a lot of number of applications today, and from the point of view of the user, it can get confusing. This is another data, which is the number of applications released by year. It keeps growing, right? But one of the interesting data points here is that it's actually the growth started to slow down. It's not growing as much as before. And then again, this data point to either saturation, maturity of the market, or simply just there's a lot. So I love this quote from flurrymobile.tumblr.com. After 10 years, mobile reaches moments of truth. As the iPhone celebrates its first decade, the mobile industry has grown into a dog-eat-dog world. The decelerating rate of growth could signal, like I was saying, market maturity, saturation, or simply the end of the app gold rush. I wanted to emphasize that. So the point here is that one content or one service equal one application. That model doesn't work anymore. And advertisers, application developers, companies, they need to start rethinking the way that they're approaching consumers, because simply just creating a super cool app and putting it there on the store is not working anymore. So what do we think that should be done about this? One thing is we're betting, right? We're betting that mixed reality is going to replace our phones. That's why I'm citing data here for mobile. We believe and we're pushing for that, actually, right? That's how we want it to be a day-to-day technology, which is like your phone, you're almost unconsciously always using it, right? So if we go the same route of an app, an icon everywhere, for your mixed reality headsets, or pop-up ads, like, everywhere you look at it and you click, click, click. That is not going to be the best approach. And so I love this. We love this video because it's a cautionary tale of what could happen if we replicate exactly the same. Oh.
Fantastic. Great. Nice. Great.
Bastante. Apúrate si quieres una buena calificación.
Voy lo más rápido que puedo.
¿Has pensado en correr? Es saludable y eficiente.
Seguro que no hay más trabajos disponibles. Yo estudié para ser profesora y estoy haciendo mercados.
Y además puedes quedarte con los puntos de fidelización. Eres una monje afortunada. Tienes que confiar en la aplicación. ¿Te sientes inspirada? Gracias. Chao.
¿Quién soy yo? No, eso no es lo que quiero decir. ¿Para dónde voy? No. Puedo volver a empezar. Olvídalo.
Estoy presente ahora. Me amo. Estoy libre de mi ira. Estoy libre de mi tristeza. El amor es mi
Yes.
All right, I think you get the point. So that's quite the UI pollution. So the point here was putting a lot of UI and pop-up ads and buttons and everything on the UI and just translating the same model is not going to work for the user of the future of mixed reality. We already heard, right? Some people are already started talking about how do I create a pop-up ad blocker for mixed reality because they're not going to want to go walk around with it. So how to address this? What we believe is what should happen is instead of having an icon for apps, is utilizing the physical objects for contextual links to the applications. That way, we don't have icons going around there. The user don't have a folder that they have to open, maybe Minority Report style, right? And go and look for the icon. Instead, what if, for example, a family wants to play a Nerf game, and just by simply picking up the gun, that's it. Your MR headset recognizes it and starts playing the game. That way, like I was saying, the idea is not to overload the user with just useless UI and only make it available when it makes sense. What we're looking at here is rethinking first application, your icon, and even rethinking services, like for example, advertisement. Make it actually valuable. Don't make it like simply like putting just a billboard there and just something that the user then is going to look to block. For example. One idea that we like there is that we throw there is the IKEA app. This could be an opportunity for IKEA branding, for example, like you have all your furniture at home, and then when you look at it, then IKEA provides a service. So, hey, look at our catalog and see how this new furniture, this new sofa that we have would look in your house. So, does that make sense? By the way, let me know. I get excited when I start talking, and I start waving my arms and all, and then people are like, what are you talking about? So feel free we're here, right? I'm on family, so feel free to tell me if you want me to repeat something. Second point, expanding reality, augmented and virtual reality beyond our perceptions, our current perceptions. So what we mean by this is, these are images that I borrowed from Magic Leap, beautiful, beautiful experiences, right? However, we find that most of the mixed reality applications today are just like you go, experience, and then you go back to your world, go back to what you were doing. And so that's why they can be just a one-time. I go and enjoy this gimmicky thing, this very science fiction experience, but then I go back to life. And we see a lot. That's why we see a lot of people saying, "Well, I don't know what mixed reality. What's the problem that it's trying to solve?" And we believe it's because we're looking at it as this is just another app that I'm just one time running it and just forgetting about it. So what we think is what should happen is change our point of view of how we think, how we design, and even, of course, implement mixed reality. And so that's why we started in our group asking questions like, does reality disappear when you close your eyes? When you go to bed and you start sleeping, the world keeps going, right? The world keeps happening, things are going on. So for mixed reality, that's what we should do to create the real uses of the future. The devices of the future should not be simply ones that have all the application there and provide everything, and provide a sandbox reality that I just go, enjoy, and then live and continue my life. What we believe should happen is that these devices should provide a link to a persistent layer of reality, something that is happening there all the time, and the device is simply a way to connect you there. What do I mean for that? What we mean by that is persistency when you create the applications, when you create the world, and something that is not tied to the specific device. So of course, being Unity, we're all about hardware agnostic and multi-platform. And so, for example, in this application, let's say that using Google Maps, some maps, the developers or the owners, they create specific experiences in the pyramids, right? And they use maybe virtual reality, maybe some augmented reality applications, and they put interactive elements there. That stays there, and then when the tourist goes to the site with their headset, they immediately see there what the owners or advertisers or any content creator puts there. And then maybe people like Spotify would create geolocation-based playlists that then you can connect either through a website or either to your other headset. So the idea is, again, that think of the devices simply as the portal, simply as connecting you to this persistent overlay of reality that is useful for you. Make sense? Then the last issue, MR experiences not being social. And I'm not talking here about multiplayer games where people go and they experience the same game, right? The same thing. I'm talking here about demos that you see people wearing headsets and everybody standing around, or even the creator, and not knowing what they're seeing. So let me show you a video here. We've been visiting. This is from different conferences that we've been visiting. So look at this one. See how the user, the person, he is looking at a demo, and then the creator is like, but I don't know what you're looking at. Like, Even look at his watch, and okay, sure, and he's the creator, right? That's a typical MR demo, right? The typical, oh, yeah, sure, Another one. Look at the people in the background. You know, the people standing there, they're like, okay, I don't know what he's looking at, seems kind of cool. Right, I'm just waiting here for my turn. How you doing? And yeah, the person wearing the headset is engaged and is excited, right? But everybody else is like, okay. Of course, I'm an engineer, I'm a programmer. Another thing that happens to me a lot is debugging and debugging my application, that I have to show it, or if I have somebody else looking at it, I'm like, okay, what are you seeing? Right now you should be seeing something, this and that. And I just can't. The person has to tell me, no, there's a button, but it's not responding, etc. Same with our lead designer. He's designing the interactions in headsets. And the only way that he can test is by telling people to put it on and, okay, what do you see? What is happening right now? So that's what we mean, that those experiences are not social. So Twitch, right? Who would have thought, I'm old enough that Twitch wasn't there when I was a teenager or in my 20s. Who would have thought that Twitch would be so popular, right? And take into account that the popularity of virtual reality today is a lot due to this mixed cast, the green screen videos that people put on the web, and we see others. So this is one example. So look at the difference here. People actually, the viewers, the spectators are engaged as well into the experience, and are enjoying it and laughing, right? Not only the people participating. So this should exist for mixed reality. That's what we mean. Ideally, every time I'm either an artist or a programmer, and I create a mixed reality application and compile it, immediately, automatically, a spectator application should be generated. Or when I'm debugging, you know, me as a programmer, or again, a designer, we put the headset on the person, immediately there should be an automatic spectator view that we can see. So that's the kind of thing that we believe should happen to make it like then. So Twitch channels for mixed reality are actually super popular. So those are the three issues, like the main components, and a little bit of how we believe those should be addressed. Next, I wanted to tell you a little more in detail of the projects that we're working on in the Mixed Reality Research Group. like I said, that's our mission. We're working on pushing the industry, pushing the envelope, not only to simply just not only that we believe that it's going to happen, but we also want to make it happen. We want mixed reality and augmented reality. So that's why we do these things. We want to inspire developers and provide tools for all of you to get this to be a day-to-day technology, and not just a gimmicky, and then having people say, I don't know what mixed reality, what problem is solving. So we're calling it the Mixed Reality Ecosystem, ES, and this is the umbrella for all of our research and for all of our efforts. Under that, the ES, there are a bunch of areas of research. But in general, we are creating tools and apps for creators to be able to make their applications, publish them, offer subscription, and then have concurrency execution. Because then again, in the future, when mixed reality replaces your phone, it's not going to be just one app, your calendar app that is running. It's your calendar app and your recipe app, and maybe you're in your game as well, and the news and all your subscriptions. So going back to the contextual links, so we're going beyond that. Remember that we believe that at least at the basic level, physical objects should be the contextual links for applications. We're going beyond that, and we're going for anything that triggers any kind of application. We're building what we're calling the contextual system. So that way you can specify when you're creating your experience, I say, well, I want this to be activated when it's 5 o'clock because I'm doing the mixed reality news of the future. So some examples. Contextual triggers are going to be combination of several things. GPS location, of course, that's the first thing that all of us think, right? I walk into a building and then immediately my experience starts. The other type of contextual trigger would be all the objects that are close to you or even the people that are near you. Proximity triggers in this case, or type of objects. The other could be the state of the actions of the user. Let's say, for example, you are leaving a meeting super late, and you walk in, like a meeting ran long, and you're walking out of the building, and you're on the street, and your calendar knows that you have a meeting, in 5 minutes starting. So immediately, because you're walking and you're on the street, the Uber app, the Lyft app appears there. Or if you're close by, maybe it gives you the choice to say, do you want to walk home? Do you want to take a taxi, or do you want to, go get your bike, etc. Time of day, for example, or calendar of day. And of course, in the future, not so distant, with Neurable that we've all been talking, it's been on the news since a couple of days ago, right? In the future, intent is going to drive, we believe, it's going to drive the start in your application. It's going to be one of those contextual triggers just by your preferences, your behavior. And all of this, of course, is going to be powered by brain-computer interfaces and machine learning. So that's one thing that we're working on. And the other one is going back to that persistent layer. How can we offer that to our programmers and creators? The way that we imagine it, we imagine a subscription system that provides access to different levels of, or different overlays of reality, depending. And these overlays, we divide them depending on who owns them and who has access to them. So we're called O for overlay. O1 is the pure physical world. O2 would be, we're calling that the shared reality. That is the one that is an opt-out reality, and is controlled and is set by the owners of the physical space. For example, you go visit Unity, you go to Unity offices, and then you see the Unity mixed reality application in our building. The third one is the personal reality. That's what that's a term that we have for the circle that is personal and is private to you, and then you control it. Because remember, going back to the spectator views about that, the mixed reality automatically created spectator view. that raises some questions about privacy and freedom, right? So it is very important for us that from the very beginning we develop and we design all of these frameworks with privacy in mind. So that's very important for us. So one example of what we mean by this, the Eiffel Tower, that's an example that we love to do. Most of my team, by the way, they're French. I'm the only one that doesn't speak French. I'm learning. So the Eiffel Tower, the physical one, right? That's the one that we all know, and we walk there and we see it. O2 would be the Council of Paris owns the Eiffel Tower, and so whenever anybody walks into it, what they see in this level of mixed reality is what the council decides to be there, either with your tablet, with your headset, etc. So maybe because it's a holiday or some public holiday, they decided to recolor the tower and maybe some effects, etc. And there's a video playing. And by the way, this reality is also synchronized. That's the idea. It's not like what I see is different because I came at 4 p.m., it starts the particle effect only at the time. No, if the council says, at 5 p.m. we have fireworks, virtual fireworks, then it starts for everybody at the time. And if I'm late, I'm in the middle, then I see it late. So, but let's say that, Banksy wants to do some artwork in the Eiffel Tower. And then because I am subscribed to Banksy, only of course, I have the freedom to go and say and subscribe to it. When I walk to the Eiffel Tower, I can say, you know what, instead of the shared reality, I want to see all the artwork by Banksy. So how does that sound? Some people have told us, like, wow, this is very science fiction. And you know what? We believe in that. We believe in that. Remember that one of the mission statements of Unity is that we solve hard problems. So if it's not far-fetched, if it's not really hard to do, we just don't tackle, right? So yes, you have a question? Yes, what we're working on is a client module that is the one in charge of the concurrent execution of all of the apps. So this is going to be cloud-based, and the prototype that we're working on is that we have a server, and so the server is the one that is going to have the database, well, the subscriptions and all. And then your device is the one that is going to say, okay, this is my GPS location, this is what I'm looking at, this is what, oh, sorry, I have a couple of more questions, more slides. I know you switched some my slides. I have a couple more. Well, pretty much just summary, but I need to finish. So, but answering the question about that, yes, it's a module that is there in charge of doing all the concurrency execution. Mm-hmm. Yes. Yeah. Uh-huh. Yes, yes. The question is, what are the psychological implications when someone is immersed for a long time in your personal sphere, especially with brain interfaces? The answer is yes. That's a good question. Just like privacy is a very important issue, and so I don't have the answer right now, like, what's the best way to do it, but we're working on it, and definitely that's one of the reasons why, in general, my teams are always multidisciplinary. We need to work with psychologists, not only like lawyers and privacy advocates, but we also need perceptual and psychologists there in the team. I'm the engineer, I love programming, but of course it's not. So that doesn't answer your question, but it's like, yes, it's a huge issue to be taken into account. Yes.
And how do you envision it happening from a commercial standpoint? It sounds like when you use the word subscription, are you thinking that as a user that I'm paying for these services and that's helping to eliminate a lot of the clutter of the advertising, or are you thinking it's how most of the content gets paid for now.
Mm-hmm.
So if you take that away, what does that leave you for development?
I would say a mix. YouTube, I can watch right now without paying YouTube. I can watch a lot of it. There's of course some advertisement there, but again, in the future, when just like there are pop-up, ad blockers in the web, we believe that if we just simply rely on the same way of doing advertisement, this is just not going to work. So I believe that it will be a mix. Perhaps I pay for Banksy, for his artwork, and that's how he supports himself. But maybe, IKEA, like I said, I like furniture now. I'm right now moving, so that's why IKEA is on my head. IKEA provides me a free service, but saying like, hey, look at this new furniture that we have, and then that causes me, and they study, there will be data that says, that causes users to go and purchase more. Maybe, and of course, the server side, that's a whole, and again, what's the architecture does look like, right? A big portion of it, and I know it's going to happen, this is not going to be monolithic, just one server, right? Because I can immediately think of people and companies don't want to put their proprietary assets there. I used to work at DreamWorks and Pixar, so there's no way, right, that they're going to give their IP, which is so important, and put it in a server. So maybe this is going to be an architecture where there will be many different servers, and some of them will be free, others you would pay for it. Make sense? So these are thoughts, again, that is going, and we're starting right now implementing, of course, the initial one is just like, okay, let's just have the concept of a subscription, and you subscribe to it, and then and you can see the apps that you want, and the different users, just like you subscribe to a channel today. Yeah? All right, yeah, the last slide that oh, yes, you had a question. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Exactly. Hmm. Mm. It wouldn't highlight. I know. Yes, that's one of my in representative. Yeah. Mm. Yeah. Yes, yes. The question, did everybody hear the question? It's about two things. One is debugging, which is those of us programming in HoloLens right now, we know, right? That we go, put the headset on, we walk around to see if, it's mapping everything. Oh, something didn't work, and you have to go back to the computer to look at the console. So that's one thing that the development right now makes it cumbersome. And the other aspect is previewing things in the editor don't necessarily match the view with the headset. And yes, those are two things that we have identified. And the one about having a debugging console in the HoloLens is one of my dreams. So that's specifically one thing that I'm working on. Yeah. Exactly. Yes, yes. So in general, yes, the point is that, again, being Unity, that's one of the things that we're working on, right? That's what we do is, what are the tools that we can provide to all of you to make the development and then the experience for your user better. Mm-hmm. All right, so last is just to recap. So 3 issues that I identified today. One is applications are invisible, and invisible things are forgettable. So let's change our mind about just an app is an icon. And the way that we believe this will be addressed is having physical objects as contextual triggers, contextual links for the apps. And we're going beyond that. For example, your location, your preferences, etc. The second one is let us expand our current perception of what MR is. It's not just a sandbox reality. What we should be provide in order to really replace the cell phone is a persistent layer that is always there. And then the devices simply become a way to connect to it. And the third one is Twitch. I want Twitch for, for MR. So let's provide a window into the world. And the last thing, well, stay tuned. We're addressing this with our MRES initiative, and our plans is, of course, we'll be releasing code, papers throughout the next year. And so stay tuned for that. And thank you.